Out of it, gee, taxpayers. I've been off the grid for a couple of weeks, but still looking at the data flow markets in Australia and around the world, and getting a little more confused by the day about the commentary or the feeling that in Australia we're not going to see any more interest rate cuts, or one at the most. And I'm surprised because all there has been to drive that sentiment, apart from the RBA Chatham House rules conversations with a few market economists, is one rogue monthly CPI number, which included an unwinding of the electricity subsidies, some tobacco tax excise increases. People seem to forget that the trimmed mean was 2.6% in that reading. But anyway, what do I know? But as I look at the data flow over at Cappuccino, I see that the household spending numbers have been pretty soggy. The employment numbers are pretty soggy. Obviously, we get another figure in the next 24 hours or so. We've got building approvals back down, so we're not building enough houses. And one of the constraints on that is oppressive interest rate settings. Wages growth is weakening. So it's hard to sort of pinpoint anything that's going to cause the RBA to pause for anything other than a very short period of time. It's interest rate cutting cycle. And one of my favourite indicators of inflation risks globally, and therefore in Australia, is the CRB index of commodity prices, the Commodities Research Bureau index of commodity prices. It covers a whole range of things for those who aren't familiar with it. Precious metals, base metals, agricultural products, energy, you name it, just about, it's in the index. And why that's such a good indicator is that if commodity prices are going up, global demand is strong and or global supply is weak, and therefore you get inflation pressures coming from that. And as I look at the CRB index, it's actually lower now than it was in January. So over the last, 9 months or so, it's flat to down. Compared to where it was in 2022, it's about the same. So the inflation pressures coming from the global economy are just non-existent, other than the ridiculous Trump tariff issues in the US, which again is a separate issue. It's got nothing to do with the rest of the world. They're going to blow up their own economy. That's their business. But for here and now in Australia, the Reserve Bank seems to be just misreading the lack of momentum in the economy. We don't have the economy growing anywhere near trend. The labour market's weakening. Aside from rogue government policy changes on prices, we've got core inflation on target, probably going to be slowing further. And to me, as I sort of look at the data from afar, it seems as if the economy just doesn't have that momentum. Inflation's under control and the labour market's weakening a bit. But anyway, we'll see how we go. Ciao.